Welcome back to the Mastering the Keys series, where we'll learn how to master every key on the piano. By becoming familiar with each key, you can greatly increase your musical abilities. The last minor key we looked at was E minor, so let's travel up that circle of fifths, 5 notes, and we'll arrive at B minor. First, let's take a look at the key signature. B minor is the relative minor key of D major. This means that the two keys will share the same key signature. Like D major, B minor has 2 sharps. And if you see 2 sharps in a key signature, because of our order of flats, those will always be F sharp and C sharp. Now let's talk about the notes that make up the key. Since the key is B minor, the root note of the scale is B. To find the notes in a minor scale, we'll start on a root note and use the minor scale step pattern of whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, and whole step. Following this pattern gives us the notes B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A, and back to B. Now let's take a look at the B minor scale. The right hand uses the same pattern that we used for the E minor scale in the previous video. To play this on the piano, our right hand thumb, or finger 1, will start on B, and we will use finger numbers 1, 2, and 3. Then we'll slide that hand over 3 notes so your thumb lands on E, and continue up the scale with 1, 2, 3, 4, and finish with 5 on B. Then we'll head back down with finger numbers 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then slide our hand back down 3 notes so our thumb is on the B key again, and continue downwards with 3, 2, and 1. Again, those finger numbers are 1, 2, 3, shift, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And back down we have 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, shift, 3, 2, 1. Now practice that scale pattern slowly until you can do it at least 3 times in a row without making mistakes. Then you can slowly work on speeding it up. And once you feel comfortable with that, we can move on to the left hand. In the left hand, we don't start on finger number 5 this time like we have in previous videos. Of all the scales, I personally feel that this one has the weirdest feeling in your hands because we don't actually use finger 5 at all in the left hand. Give it a chance to get used to the new feeling. So for this one, we'll start with finger 4 on B and play finger numbers 4, 3, 2, and 1. Then slide that hand up 4 notes so your thumb will land on the next B, and continue playing finger numbers 4, 3, 2, and 1. And now we'll go back down with 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll shift back down 4 notes and play 1, 2, 3, and 4, finger 4 ending on that B. Again, those finger numbers are 4, 3, 2, 1, shift, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back down with 1, 2, 3, 4, shift, 1, 2, 3, 4. In scales like this one, where we're leaping over 4 notes instead of 3, it's a better idea to practice the hand shift instead of the thumb cross when we're shifting positions because there's a much bigger gap to cross over. It may be faster and better for your hands to just practice shifting over those 4 notes instead of trying to bend that thumb and risking injuring it. So once you can play that left hand without mistakes, let's try putting them together. This is the tricky part because not only does each hand shift on a different note, but the left hand is starting on finger 4, which is different from all the scales that we've practiced so far. So let's go ahead and set our hands up on B, and we'll play B, C sharp, and D, and now the right hand shifts up to E, and the left hand shifts up to F sharp, then we'll play G, A, and B. Now we'll head back down from B to A, and G, then F sharp, and now the left hand shifts down to E, and then the right hand shifts down to D, then C sharp, and finally back home to B. Now let's do that again, but a little bit slower. B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A, and B. Then back down with B, A, G, F sharp, E, D, C sharp, and B. Great work so far. Now once you feel comfortable with those scales, we can move on to the arpeggios. Arpeggios are just runs that play the root, the third, and the fifth notes of the scale. In the key of B minor, those notes are B, D, and F sharp. In the right hand, We'll start with finger 1 on B, finger 2 on D, and finger 3 on F sharp. We'll play B, D, and F sharp, then shift our hand up to have finger 1 on the next B, D, and F sharp, and finally using finger 5, we'll play that high B before coming back down, and then we'll hit the F sharp, D, and B, and then shift our hand down to have 3 on F sharp, 2 on D, and land with 1 on B. Again, that is 1, 2, 3, shift, 1, 2, 3, 5, 3, 2, 1, shift, 3, 2, 1. The left hand will play the same notes, but it'll use a different fingering to do so. We use fingers 5, 3, 2, and 1. Now we'll start with finger 5 on B and play B, D, and F sharp with 5, 3, and 2, and then use 1 on B. Then we'll shift the hand up to have finger 3 on the next D, and play F sharp with 2, and finish with 1 on B. We'll then head back down the piano with 1 on B, 2 on F sharp, 3 on D, and then shift the hand so you have 1 on the next B, 2 on F sharp, 3 on D, and finally land on that B with your pinky. Again, those numbers are 5, 3, 2, 1, shift, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, shift, 1, 2, 3, 5. Now we can practice each hand separately very slowly until you stop making mistakes, and then we'll try putting them together, which will sound like this. Now, awesome job with those. It gets easier in my opinion from here on out, so just stick with it a little longer. And now we can talk about the chord progressions in B minor. In a minor key, the 1 chord and the 4 chords have a minor quality, so you'll see that lowercase Roman numeral under them to indicate that quality. In a minor key, we'll still use a major 5 chord, even though the third interval of the 5 chord is not in the actual key signature. There are music theory reasons that we typically do this in a minor key, but they pretty much boil down to it sounds nice, so that's how we're going to do it now. The minor 1 chord of B minor is spelled B, D, and F sharp. The minor 4 chord is E minor, spelled E, G, and B. And the 5-7 chord is F sharp 7, which is spelled F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, and E. However, for the sake of making this chord progression easier to play, we invert the minor 4 chord to its second inversion, which will make it spelled B, E, and G, and then we invert the 5-7 chord to its first inversion and eliminate that fifth interval of the chord, giving us the notes A sharp, E, and F sharp. So we'll play the B minor chord in root position, and then the minor 4 chord, E minor, in its second inversion, which is spelled E, G, and B, then back to that root B minor, and then the F sharp 7 chord in its first inversion but without the fifth of the chord, giving us A sharp, E, and F sharp, and finally end on a B minor chord in root position. Playing them all back to back looks like this. Great job making it through those. There's just one last thing to talk about before truly mastering the key of B minor, and those are the inversions. These are just different ways to stack the B minor chord. In the right hand, we'll play B minor with B, D, and F sharp using the classic 1, 3, and 5 fingerings, and then move up to D, so we'll play D, F sharp, and B with finger numbers 1, 2, and 5. Then we'll move the right hand up again, so finger 1 is on F sharp, and we'll play F sharp, B, and D with fingers 1, 3, and 5, and then finally play that B minor chord an octave up in its root position with the classic 1, 3, 5 finger pattern. In the left hand, the notes are the same, but we'll use different fingers. We'll play that same root B minor with fingers 5, 3, and 1 on B, D, and F sharp. Then we'll shift up and play the first inversion, starting on D, F sharp, and B with fingers 5, 3, and 1 again. Then we'll move up and play F sharp, B, and D with fingers 5, 2, and 1. And finally, we'll move up an octave to play that root B minor chord with the classic 5, 3, 1. And just keep practicing those slowly until you can play them without errors before you try and speed it up. Now let's put together everything that we've learned. We'll do the scale, the arpeggio, the chords, and the inversions. If you've made it through all of these steps, awesome job getting this far. Now keep practicing and allow yourself time to really learn all these individual parts. Don't rush the learning process and you'll eventually get to where you're trying to go. Now congratulations on mastering the key of B minor. If you found this video helpful, please help out the channel by giving us a like and subscribe for more musical content. And stay tuned for next time on our next key mastery video.